Hey guys, Silver Shady here. Back with another episode of Pokemonday, and this is a bit of a Poke Wednesday special, I guess. Today I'm going to be profiling for you a deck I've been testing using cards from the new Guardians Rising set, which is going to be coming out May 5th. So, yeah, here we go. Got 4 copies of Energy Evolution Eevee from Sun and Moon base set. And the new Sylveon GX, we run that 3 of. Sylveon GX, naturally it's a fairy type with 200 HP. For 1 fairy energy, does Magical Ribbon. You get to search your deck for any 3 cards, and you put them into your hand, you shuffle your deck afterward. You don't have to reveal them because it's any 3 cards. And then for 1 fairy and a DCE, it does 110 damage with Fairy Wind. Its GX attack is known as LeLe GX, for 1 fairy and a double colorless energy. And you get to choose 2 of your opponent's bench Pokemon and return them and all cards attached to them to your opponent's hand. Just a really, really powerful GX attack, especially when you're facing something like a Turbo Darkrai list or Lunala, something like that. Any form of Stage 2 deck that you can just return, like say Vileplume or Decidueye to their hand. Really? I knew you would do that! Fucking hell, Velcro. God damn it. Anyway, yeah, so it's weak to metal, 20 resistance to dark, and it's got a 2-star retreat cost. So, we also play 1 copy of Sylveon GX. The reasoning for this will be explained later, but paired with Sylveon, or Energy Evolution Eevee, and the fact that some of the other cards we also run in here, it just makes sense to run this as a one-of. Especially seeing as, since Guardians Rising does get released, I imagine Mega Mewtwo will still see some play. So it's good to have at least some form of a counter to it. We also run 1 copy of Comfy, the card that Silver Melody hates. And she's glaring at me at the moment. Comfy is, essentially it's Virizion. It's Virizion EX from Plasma Blast, except for fairy types. Its ability allows, I can't remember what the ability name is, but its ability essentially says anything with a fairy energy attached to it cannot be affected by any special conditions, and remove all special conditions currently affecting those Pokemon. Its attack doesn't really matter, because if you're swinging for this, you're probably losing. So, who cares? We run 2 copies of the new Tapu LeLe GX. Perhaps the card that everyone knows from this set, because it's just too powerful. This is essentially a better version of Jirachi from Plasma Blast. 170 HP, Psychic type, no weakness, no resistance, a 1-star retreat cost. Its ability, when you play this card from your hand onto your bench, you search your deck for a supporter, show it to your opponent, put it into your hand, shuffle your deck afterward. It's called Wonder Tag. And then its attack, for a double colorless energy, it does Energy Drive, which is essentially X-Ball from Mewtwo, or Aero Ball from Lugia EX from Ancient Origins, an attack that has seen play on many, many a card. Namely, again, just 20 damage times the amount of energy attached to both active Pokemon. And then, of course, for 1 Psychic Energy, you have Tapu Cure GX, and that allows you to remove all damage counters from 2 of your bench Pokemon. That being your GX attack, it's essentially a double max potion, just really, really powerful. So, again, all around a fantastic card. Definitely going to be the new Shaman. And, speaking of which, 2 copies of Shaman for draw power. And that rounds out our Pokemon lineup. Moving on to our supporters. Alright, for our supporters, we have 4 copies of Professor Sycamore, 3 copies of N, 2 copies of Lysander, 1 copy of LeLe. I see this card getting a lot more play now that Tapu LeLe is going to be in format. On the first turn, this card is insane. And with Tapu LeLe being in format, being able to search it out, it's just like having Jirachi. So, yeah, LeLe is going to see a lot more play. 1 copy of Professor Kukui, and 1 copy of Skyla. Because both of our GX attacks or I should say all 3 of our GX attacks are late game attacks. Hala is not really a good option for this deck. Hala really only works for decks like Lorantis Solgaleo or the new Drampa GX, those kind of decks that use their GX attacks on the first turn. As for our stadium, we have 3 copies of Fairy Garden to give our Pokemon free retreat. Pretty obvious choice there. Moving on to our tools, we have 3 copies of the new Choice Band. We have not gotten confirmation that this is in the set yet. However, our best guess, or at least I should say we haven't got confirmation as of this recording. But based on the fact that have gotten confirmation that Sylveon is going to be in this next set, I would imagine that, seeing as this was released at the same time, this is most likely going to get printed in Guardians Rising as well. Choice Band is essentially Silver Bangle and Muscle Band's baby. It can be attached to anything, and while it's attached, the Pokemon this card is attached to does 30 more damage to your opponent's active Pokemon EX or Pokemon GX. Just an insanely good card. Definitely going to see a lot of play. Moving on to our actual items, we run the standard 4 copies of Ultra Ball. We run 2 copies of Trainer's Mail. This is one card I'm actually debating on cutting entirely. I've noticed this deck doesn't really need it. As of right now, I don't know what else I'd throw in. Before I start really considering taking this out, I want to see what else they print in Guardians Rising. That will definitely affect whether or not this is a final build, or if I'm going to continue to do testing. This is still an early list. But 1 copy of Professor's Letter, being able to turn an Ultra Ball into a Tapu LeLe into a Skyla for 2 energy, while it's like 5 degrees of separation, just is really powerful. So, we have 1 copy of the new card Field Blower. Item removal, or tool removal, I should say. It's finally good to have it back in format. What Field Blower does is it allows you, when you play it, you can discard up to 2 in any combination of tools and stadium cards in play, both yours and your opponent's. Just tool scrapper on roids, so it's a no-brainer to play it. We run 2 copies of Fairy Drop. Still just a fantastic card to have for healing options. We run 1 copy of Super Rod, naturally for recovery. 4 copies of Versus Seeker, because this is a deck in standard format that doesn't run Vileplume. And 1 copy of Switch as well. It may seem a little silly to have that in here alongside Fairy Garden, but if you don't happen to start an Eevee, and you happen to start like a Comfy or something like that, being the fact that you want to get that first turn energy attachment on your Eevee, having that 1 copy of Switch does really help. And then lastly, we run 1 copy of Energy Switch. Yeah, this is just in case you have to move your energy around the field. It's pretty self-explanatory, but you don't usually have to use it, but when you do, it does come in handy. Seeing as we don't have Aromatisse in it anymore. And then for our energy count's a little bit weird this time. We run 3 copies of Double Colorless Energy. We run 7 basic Fairy Energies. And then 2 copies of Basic Psychic. The Basic Psychic being so that we can use both Espeon and Tapu LeLe's GX attack. So, again, just having that in there as a double max potion just really helps with the recovery options of this deck. Should be noted, this deck does struggle against Mega Mewtwo, or I should say it did before I added in the secondary copy of the Psychic Energy and Espeon. Espeon really does turn that matchup from a 50-50 to almost a sweep in your favor. Between Tapu LeLe and Espeon both tag teaming Mega Mewtwo for weakness, it makes that matchup almost a joke. Anyways, so that's the deck for you guys. This is the first of the Guardians Rising decks I'm going to be looking at. I have a couple others I want to take a look at. As a hint, I want to look at Volcanion Turtonator is one of the decks I'm looking at. I still don't have a real complete list on that one yet. I'm hoping I'll be able to get that one to you guys by Monday, but we'll see. Anyways, so here is your code card for the week. Yeah. And as a special, as a gift from my buddy Dan, here is a second code card for you as well. Hope you guys pull something good from it. 2 packs of Breakpoint, which with the new set being focused on water types, Breakpoint is definitely a very good set to be pulling from right now. Full Art Manaphy is definitely something you want to be looking for. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.